To get started with our new course, and that is Generative Artificial Intelligence. So, AI or artificial intelligence has become a kind of buzzword nowadays, right? Everyone is talking about artificial intelligence or AI, that AI will be able to replace human being. So, everyone is making a statement like that, that artificial intelligence will rule the market. Artificial intelligence will be able to replace human being. Along with that, some people are making the statement like that, that if a company is having around thousands of employees, then that thousand number will now be getting dropped into hundreds, right? So now the company won't be having thousand number of employees, but they are going to have only hundreds of employees. Just because instead of having a large pool of employees, AI can do the work of these large pool of employees only, right? So there won't be a requirement for a huge number of employees, and you will get to see layoffs. You will get to see that people are losing their job just because of AI. So let me tell you in the beginning of this course itself that it is a bit true, right? People will be losing their job and layoff will be happening, and definitely artificial intelligence will be having a kind of huge impact on the market. But one more thing I would like to tell you in the beginning of this course itself, or in the introduction of this course itself, that artificial intelligence is not exactly able to replace human being, but people who are making the use of artificial intelligence will be able to replace those people who are not making the use of artificial intelligence, right? So if you want to be at the top in the market, and if you want to secure a kind of good position in the market at this point, just because we are in this era wherein each and every single company is coming across artificial intelligence, they are making the use of AI to replace human being, and they are trying to lower their budget, right? So if they are spending a lot of money on these employees, then they are trying to adopt AI in their companies so that they shouldn't be paying a huge amount to these employees, right? And that is the ultimate reason why people are losing their job. So that's why at this point it's quite essential for you to learn about artificial intelligence and to make the use of AI to be at the top of the market, right? So this picture you can see on the screen, which I'm showing it to you. So this picture is not exactly about any of the robot, right? You can see that we are not exactly focusing upon any robot, that a robot will come in the market and then that robot will be able to replace human being. So that is not something that is going to happen, right? But what exactly is going to happen is a human brain will be able to replace other people, right? So if you are making the use of artificial intelligence on day-to-day basis, then only you can replace those people who are not making the use of artificial intelligence. And that's why it's quite essential for you to learn about AI, right? So it's only going to be those people who are going to rule the market, who are having the proper knowledge about making the use of AI to do the task in a more optimal manner, right? So that's why it's quite essential for you to learn about AI, and that's why this course is quite essential for you, just because you have to get at the top of the market, right? You have to learn about these AI tools so that you can do your task in a more optimal manner. You can save time. And even if you want to do multitasking at the same point of time, right? So you can see that in the market, there is a trend nowadays that people are making a statement like that, that at this point, people won't be joining these 9 to 5 kind of job. But what exactly they will be doing is that they can do the multitasking at the same time, right? Or what exactly they can do is that they can simply leverage AI so that they can do the multiple tasks at the same time. Okay, so they won't be doing the job, but they will be making the use of AI to do their multiple jobs, right? So that's why this course is quite essential for you, and you have to learn about artificial intelligence. So we won't be going into a too much practical implementation, or I would say we won't be going too much into the technical aspect in this specific course. So we are not going to make the use of these frameworks like LangChain. We are not making the use of Python language or any of the coding language to become familiar with these things, that how at the back end the things are happening. So if I'm making the use of ChatGPT or any of the other AI tool, right? So I won't be going into the in-depth knowledge, or I will be just showing you a kind of brief idea or providing you a kind of brief knowledge at how exactly ChatGPT is working or how exactly these AI tools are working. But in-depth knowledge I won't be providing you, just because ultimately we have to learn about these AI tools, that how we can make the use of these AI tools so that more optimal we can become with respect to our work, right? So, first of all, let us get into this thing that what exactly is generative artificial intelligence, right? So, as you can see on the screen, that generative AI or generative artificial intelligence, if you want to learn about it, if you want to have a proper idea that what is generative AI, then first of all, we need to break this term into generative and then into artificial intelligence. So, by generative, what we mean to say is that we are going to create some new content, right? So the new content can be created in a form of a audio. You can create some new content as a new code, then some new images you can create, some new text data you can create, or some new videos you can create. So text is being highlighted over here. Why exactly I'm highlighting text at this point? Just because you might would have seen that when AI became a kind of buzzword in the market, when ChatGPT came in the market, right? So in the year of 2023, OpenAI, a company that is there in California, so that company came with ChatGPT 3.5 model, right? And by using that model, they were able to come up with a chatbot which can take the human text, which can take the input as a text from human beings, and it can generate the output in a textual format itself, right? So that model was the major model, or that AI tool was the major tool which have shown to the people, or which became as a kind of a change point, right? A kind of driving point that AI is something, right? That AI is having a kind of optimal nature to replace human being, right? So that's why we are focusing more upon this textual thing. And one more thing I would like to tell you, that in this specific course itself, we are going to focus upon generating the textual data mostly only, right? That's because the thing is that we will be making the use of this AI tool, so that we will get to learn that how we can generate this optimal text, so that we can ultimately enhance our business. We can become good in marketing. And then if we want to generate some code as well, then code is nothing but a textual data only, right? So how we can generate this word by word prediction or this textual data, that is something we are going to learn about. So, along with this, not only the textual data only, but we are going to learn about generating the videos as well, how we can generate videos by writing these prompts. So, prompt is basically a kind of text input that you are providing to your AI model, right? So, Sora, you might would have seen, has become a kind of buzz nowadays in the market, that Sora will be able to replace these filmmakers or directors who are making these movies. That's because you can simply make the use of your prompt, and by using these prompt, you can generate these videos, right? So each and every single aspect we are going to cover, that how exactly by giving an input prompt to our model or to this AI tool, we can generate the images, videos, text, code, or audio, right? So by generative, what do we mean is that we are going to generate something, right? So these models are being used to generate some kind of data. That can be an audio data, it can be an code, it can be some image kind of data. Midjourney and all of these AI tools like DALI, you might would have seen, which is taking some textual input and it is able to generate some images. And then some textual data you can also generate, and then some video you can generate. Just because at the end of the day, by making the use of these AI tools, you are generating something. That's why we are calling it as generative. And then artificial intelligence is basically making the use of a computer program, right? So you're making the use of a computer program at the back end of these AI tools, which are automatically working at the back end. And then these computer programs are the only programs or the code which is generating this content that you can see on the front end, right? So these AI tools that you can see, that is going to be there in the front end. When you're going to provide some input to these tools, there is going to be a computer program that will be running at the back end, and that computer program will be generating the content in the front end again, that you can see in the form of an image, in the form of a text, video, code, or audio. So just because in this overall course, we are going to generate only some kind of content by making the use of artificial intelligence or these AI tools or these computer programs. That's why we are calling this course as generative AI. Okay. So One more thing I would like to show it to you over here, and that is in the year of 2023, we came across ChatGPT, right? Which became a kind of buzz in the market. But do you really feel that ChatGPT or generative AI is a new concept? It is not, right? Just because in the year of 2006, we came across Google Translate, right? So to the Google Translate, you are providing some input as the textual data. So this input you can see on the screen is a Greek language, right? Some Greek kind of text we have provided as an input. And with respect to this input or with respect to this Greek text, we are able to generate the output in a English language, right? So this model or this Google Translate tool that is there, that is also taking in some input and it is also generating some kind of output, right? So you can see that again in this specific scenario as well, we are making the use of a computer program at the back end. And then by making the use of that computer program, we are generating some content in the front end, right? So again, we are having some generative AI that is happening over here in the case of Google Translate as well. So Google Translate came in the year of 2006, right? And now we are in the year of 2024. So 18 years back, we came across Google Translate. So you can see that if someone is saying a statement like that, that generative AI has came or we came across generative AI in the year of 2023 or in the year of 2022 itself. So that is not exactly true. Okay. We have already been making the use of generative AI since 2006 only, or before that as well. In some sort of sense, we might would have been making the use of generative AI, right? But it became a buzz in the year of 2023. So that's why you can see that if someone is saying a statement like that, that AI will be able to replace human being, and that is not exactly that will be happening, right? We can't actually say something like that, that AI will be able to replace human beings just because AI is not exactly entirely new at this point. We have came across AI soon, or we have came across AI 10 years back or 20 years back, right? So it's not exactly a kind of new concept. But at this point, AI is able to do so many number of things just because so many number of tools we are having. So that's why at this point, learning about AI is quite important, right? So this is one of the example of Google Translate. In a similar way, I would like to show it to you some another example. And this example is with respect to Google. So in Google, you might would have seen that whenever you are providing some input to your text box, you can see some next words which are getting generated, right? When I'm giving some input as SAN, and then with respect to this SAN and F, I can see that so many number of next word prediction that is happening with this model, right? So that's exactly how these generative AI also used to work. You're providing some kind of input to your model, and then the model is generating some upcoming words or the next word prediction is happening, right? So my input was SAN, and then F was the input which I was providing to my model. And then with respect to this input, it is generating the output, or it is suggesting us that the next word can be San Francisco weather, or it can be San Francisco itself, or San Fernando Valley, or San Francisco hotels. So next word prediction is happening at this point only. So this next word prediction is something that we used to see in the case of Chat GPT as well. Right. So if someone is saying a statement like that, that Chat GPT is the major crux point of generative AI, or just because of Chat GPT only we came across generative AI, that is not entirely true. We have already came across with Google, which was able to generate the content, right, or which was able to come up with the next word prediction on the basis of what input I'm providing. In a similar way, in WhatsApp text, you might would have seen that whenever you are writing a text in WhatsApp or in any of the other tool, so you might would have seen that if I'm providing some input as I like to, then I will get to see some suggestions, right? That I like to see, I like to get, I like to be, right? So these suggestions are being provided by a computer program that is running at the back end, and then it is providing us some kind, or it is generating some kind of content that can be our next word, right? So again, some kind of generative AI is happening over here as well. So you can see that generative AI is not entirely a new concept. We have came across generative AI soon 10 or 20 years back only. And now at this point, it's quite important for us to learn about all of these AI tools or most of these AI tools so that we will be at the top of the market, right? But if someone is saying a statement like that, that AI has just came in the market 1 or 2 years back, then that is not true, right? So what exactly is happening in the case of generative AI? One thing you can see over here, and that is I'm providing some kind of input to my model, right? So to this Google model itself, I'm providing some input as san f. And then this input which I'm providing is a kind of context that I'm providing to my model, right? So this context is something that we use to provide to our model as an input. And with respect to this context, we use to generate some kind of output, or this model or this computer program that is there at the backend is able to predict that what exactly will come up after this given word, right? So with respect to these AI tools as well, whether if you're trying to generate some music or some images or videos or audio, at each and every single time you have to provide some kind of context like like in this case the context is I like to, and then some generation is happening from the computer program, and that is I like to see, get, or be. This is a generation that will be happening, but for this generation you have to provide some kind of context like this, that is I like to, and then only you will get to see the generation by these computer programs. So that's why, with respect to the model that is ChatGPT or any of the other AI tool that we are going to have, you have to provide some kind of context, and then only you will get to see some kind of data that will be generated by these models. Okay, so we can discuss about these things that how exactly ChatGPT was created, how we had this large corpus of data, and from this large corpus of data, we created these language models. We trained these large language models to predict these words. So each and every single aspect we can discuss about, but just because this overall course is mostly concerned about how we can make the use of these AI tools to be at the top of the market. That's why we won't be getting too much into depth into these things, and mostly we will be focusing upon the UI interface of these AI tools itself, right? So now from this point onwards, we will be getting started with our AI tools, that how we can make the use of ChatGPT or any of the other AI tool to generate the content by providing some context to it, and how these tools can help us out to be at the top of the market, or to do multitasking and to become a freelancer, and so many number of things we will get to see, right? So let us meet in the next video or in the upcoming videos with these with the practical implementation of these AI tools to generate some new content, right? So that would be all with respect to the introduction of generative AI, and let us meet in the upcoming videos with the practical implementation of these AI tools. So thank you.